Welcome back to the Fan Forum Podcast live show. Excuse me. You just got me tonight, unless Hitch decides to hop on. I think he's at church right now. Is it too old for him to be an altar boy? I'm not sure. We'll find out. But no, in all seriousness, I decided to do this because we had some breaking news. Breaks my heart, really, to say this, but our center, Frank Ragnow, has decided to retire. No, honestly, it doesn't break my heart, but it is a little upsetting. So I wanted to come on here and maybe just kind of review, get everybody's opinion. Man, I'll tell you what, I hope it's better than the local radio's opinion and all the morons that call into those stations, because you would have thought that Aiden Hutchinson was out for the season, just like last year. I mean, come on, guys. We've been through bigger things. So I was actually pretty shocked to hear the panic in everybody's voice. Not to downplay what Frank Ragnow's done or meant for the organization, because he's been the cornerstone in building what we see today. He's everything you want in a Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes player. He's as consistent as they come. He's as good of a person, too, as they come. He's very well-liked, very grounded human. He's an outdoorsman. He's everything you'd want in a Detroit sports fan. But you really have to think about the position he plays. And it's funny to hear everybody get this so worked up over a center. And I don't want to downplay it, because he's literally the cornerstone to this run game. But we're going to be okay. Like, I had a 5 or 10 minutes at work to think about this and kind of level set, right? And we can get into where I think they knew that this was potentially going to happen, right? I also think to myself, what's the alternative? We'll talk about that, what the alternative is if he decided to stay, right? Because he's retiring based on his health. Actually, let's read it right here so we're all on the same page. Okay, so he posted on Instagram today that he's retiring. It says, let me bring it up here. These past couple of months have been very trying, as I've come to the realization that my football journey is ending, and I'm officially retiring from the NFL. I've tried to convince myself that I'm feeling good, but I'm not, and it's time to prioritize my health and my family's future. I've given this team everything I have, and I thought I had more to give, but the reality is simply I don't. I have to listen to my body, and this has been one of the hardest decisions of my life. The Lions organization has been absolutely incredible throughout this process, and I can't emphasize this enough, how grateful I am for this team and all the fans. It was an absolute honor going to battle for all of y'all. So he says it right there. The guy's leaving not because this is a Calvin Johnson or a Barry Sanders situation where he is towards the end of his career and he's deciding, do I want to go play for another organization and chase a ring, or do I hang it up? I mean, he quickly outlines it and says, my body just can't handle this anymore. So I'm going to skip all the BS that 90 today on Frank Ragnow and all the hating that they did on the Lions organization. And I'm going to say, here's your alternative, okay? He comes back, he decides not to retire. And all of our minds, we have a penciled in, healthy, 29-year-old starting center. The season begins. We're 2, 3, 4, maybe even less games in, and he's out for the season. We're back on the injury roller coaster. He's telling us right there in his Instagram post, and he's saying, guys, my body can't handle it anymore. So my only question is when did you want him to announce this? Because this was the inevitable, right? Do you feel more comfortable if he announced it when you were before the draft? Because we drafted Tate Ratledge, and I'm sure that's where everybody's head went to as soon as Frank Ragnow retired was, well, we have Tate Ratledge. And I'm not saying that he is the answer. I'm not saying that he's going to jump right in and be the instant 8-year, 9-year vet, Pro Bowl, Mr. Consistency, Mr. 5,000 snaps and 6 sacks let up. Of course, he's not going to be Frank Ragnow, right? But is this not Frank's replacement? Now, I know at TB, thank you guys, too. Thanks, Ryan, for the shout-out on the backdrop. Uncle Jerry, I see there. Go Tigers. I'm going to talk about the Tigers in a little bit, too. Whether Hitch likes it or not, we can't ignore what's going on over there at Comerica Park. I also think, should we get it changed to Tiger Stadium again? Are you sick of Comerica Park? Because I am. That's another conversation. Well, back to Frank. Wayne, I think it was Wayne that brought this up. May have been Hitch. I don't want to give Hitch any more credit. But we were talking pre-draft strategies and the idea of, well, you're going to have to draft a backup for Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow because the inevitable with injuries and age, they're on their way out in the next couple of years. So this isn't a guy who played for us for 2 seasons. And, he's as solid as they come, right? He's no Dominic Raiola. Raiola played forever, but I think nobody else wanted him, so we let him hang around. But I don't know. I think I was really, I guess shame on me for listening to 97.1 to begin with after something big happens, because they're always going to do the overreaction. But it really got me pissed off listening to some of these fans go from, we are going to be the best team in football to our aging center retires a couple years early due to injuries, and now it's done. There goes everything. Pack it up, mail it in, right? It's crazy. The doc checked in. Hey, Doc, thank you. I appreciate the new backdrop. I had a lot of help with the new backdrop from my friend Mike Harthen. He is a professional at this, and he came in and gave me a professional touch, so I appreciate that. But yeah, back to Frank, man. I don't want this to come off as it's not a big deal, but let's be honest, man. Good teams, this stuff happens to, and they move on. Like if this were to happen to Kansas City, if this were to happen to Philadelphia, the fans are already clamoring for the replacement probably 2 years prior to this. But I think we just got to change our mindset as Lions fans, because I'm getting really sick and tired already of a couple hours in hearing that just because Frank Ragnow will not be returning, the season's over. We haven't even started training camp, right, guys? We're doing OTAs, which aren't mandatory for most of these vets. Like, chill out. And I can guarantee you that a player of Frank's caliber and an organization of ours such had this conversation probably at the end of last season. If you're a successful general manager in the NFL, are you not checking the temperature on all your vets and saying, hey, guys, how's everything going? How we feeling? What's next year look like? Like, I think that's just a conversation that these good general managers probably have with their veterans, the guys in their locker room. It's no secret that Frank Ragnow almost every year played through some killer injury, gave us the best performance of his life. So, again, it sucks, right? Because we had so much momentum. But I'm telling you, right, exactly, Ryan. We have Hutch back in. Like, there's so much positive momentum going in. We upgraded the corner situation. Terran Arnold's coming back as a young corner, ready to prove himself round 2. We're healthy. We have Enos Rackstraw, who has been a standout, apparently, in these early workouts and practices and training camp exercises. We have a lot more good than we do a veteran retiring. Now we can maybe make sense of who's going to play in what position. Yeah, I'll give you that. It's going to be an interesting look. We've got Graham Glasgow that we can move around. We really, actually, a lot of the guys on the line are very flexible. Now I can understand why people are concerned with a new offensive coordinator and a new look for the offensive line. But I would also like to calm everybody down and say, this is a new offensive coordinator coming into the Dan Campbell offense. All of these guys are very familiar with how they coach, how they think. He signed up for this job knowing what he was getting himself into. The way I see this is a good chance for him to reset the deck on how he wants this offense to look. We got to stop thinking that Johnny Morton is going to run this just like Ben Johnson. Right? I know it's kind of tough because I do think we're going to see a little different look. I just want everybody to calm down, is all I'm saying. Thank you, Jerry. Exactly. Better now than later. I mean, this guy could have went out too and counted against the cap, like I said, in a roster spot and blew it up in the middle of the season. Let's just say that this season is going to be a true test to see who can hold on from a fan standpoint. Because if you really look at it, like obviously you guys looking at it out here in the chat, Hitch, most of my buddies are true diehard Lions fans. But then these outliers, right? The guys that drove the price of the season tickets up. Those annoying friends you have that trashed the Lions for years that, last year bought a jersey and jumped on the bandwagon. Those are the ones that I'm real curious to see how they react, right? Because this is just something happens. And I didn't have enough time to look at stats either and say, okay, when's the last time a player of this caliber retired from a team and what did it do? Screw all that, man. I'll tell you what, if there's anything I've learned from Brad Holmes is this guy's 5 steps ahead of everybody else. So taking 2 tackles in the draft makes a little bit more sense now. Tate Ratledge looks real good right now. I mean, let's compare him too. Tate Ratledge is another, he just reminds me of one of those farm hands who works all day, stays up all night drinking beer, and works all day again. The guy lives in the same pair of jeans and boots and a T-shirt. Like, that's what that guy reminds me of. Very similar to Frank Ragnow. So, again, I'm going to table what I'm saying right now because it's YouTube, it's live. But I feel like that draft pick is going to look real good and make a lot more sense once we put eyes on these guys, once we start seeing them play. Okay, the doc. You got a point, Doc. The doc said the biggest hits when a veteran player like him leaves, he's leaving the locker room presence. Who's going to step up. But that's a good take. Let's take a look at this locker room, though. I'm looking in that offensive line, and I can already name 2 or 3 guys that are going to step up. Penei Sewell, I always say that. Penei Sewell is a very outspoken personality. I can see him as a leader. Taylor Decker obviously has been a leader, but the veteran presence is, I think, what you're talking about. Excuse me. And they're going to make a roster move. Let's not kid ourselves. There's somebody that they're going to go out there that has some miles on them, that has a good attitude, that can come in and do what the doc is talking about, just be a presence in the locker room, if anything more, right? I don't know. It's a good reason to come on here, but I'm not really going to throw the towel in on this whole one roster situation, right? I think what this does is this takes a little pressure off of all the other cool moves that we've made this offseason, the draft picks, because, I'm getting real sick and tired of people trying to spend the last 2-3 months poking holes through everything Brad Holmes can do. I'm geeked and ready for them boys to get back on the field and shut these idiots up, I guess is what I'm really trying to say. Goff seems to be in a real good spot. J-Mo, I don't know if anybody's looked at what J-Mo's been doing in camp or in these OTAs, but he's looking beefier, bigger, faster, stronger, a little bit louder in the locker room too. I'm hearing, like making more of a presence, not this quiet guy standing there. You're really starting to see the Amon-Ra, St. Brown, J-Mo Williams 1-2 combo become real scary. Like they're getting their confidence. If this was like a tag team situation, I would probably have to say, who would it be? The immediate thing comes to my mind is the New Age Outlaws for some reason. I don't know why, but they're getting a lot of momentum and they started out quiet behind the scenes, and they look like they're going to have a lot of fun this year. And I think Amon-Ra St. Brown could cut a pretty good wrestling promo. I don't know, Doc, you weigh in on that. You know wrestling. So we got a lot of other positive things to talk about, too. The Tigers being another. Oh, Lord. I've actually been pretty eager to talk about the Tigers. I don't know, I'm about 20 minutes in. I think I can do some Tigers. I don't know if whoever's watching, Uncle Jerry, I know you're old enough to know, and this is what I'm wearing it from, I was -2, but the 84 Tigers, the Bless You Boys. This team right now looks just like that, in my opinion. Nothing new. I'm not saying anything probably no one's written a 100 article about, but you've got a drafted young team that I don't want to say people didn't believe in, but nobody was really expecting this. And they have been so good to watch, right? And this isn't just like home run smashing baseball, right? This is good, fun baseball to watch. This is, I want to go to the ballpark with my family because it's going to be entertaining, fun baseball to watch. Haha, he likes the New Age Outlaws. Exactly. Not the biggest guys, but big enough to make a difference. Hey, you said it better than I do, Doc. So let's go back to that. Okay, he's going Dudley's. A little bit of a wild card. Yeah, we'd have to go to Wayne for the tables. Hey, Wayne could wear the black frame glasses, too. I think I'm going to stick with New Age Outlaws, because couldn't you see Amon-Ra St. Brown cutting a "you didn't know" promo? I think I could. Ryan, I don't know if you were old enough to watch UWF back then. I don't know if your mom let you when that was on. Back in like 1997, 98. I don't know. Jerry, was he? Was he allowed to watch it back then? You tell me. I don't know. I could. It probably was more of a Blues Clues for you, Ryan, back then. If I'm doing the math right. Sorry. Anyways, back to the Tigers baseball. So I've actually been really down on the MLB the last couple of years. I started collecting cards again, like a lot of people have, and I bought a pack of MLB cards a couple of years ago, and I'm just going through the list trying to get excited, and I'm like, man, I just don't know any of these players. I don't know who these guys are. I can't buy into it. I used to follow it like crazy. So give me a reason to watch it, right? It was the same thing I did with the NBA, and the Pistons getting pretty decent gets you excited about it. And you start following these guys. Well, I did it with the Tigers this year, and man, are their games fun to watch. I mean, this is in my eyes the excitement of like 2006, when every game you knew you were going to see something exciting, right? So Tarek Skubal throwing the complete game. He looks like the second coming of Justin Verlander times 2. A lefty, Justin Verlander, which I don't know, for all you that know baseball, is incredible. I mean, what would that be like? Was Clayton Kershaw a lefty, or is he a hard-throwing righty? I don't know. It's been a long day. But, I mean, you're set up right there for the next 2-3 years. Your window's wide open. So how good does it feel to be a Detroit sports fan when the window's wide open for the Tigers? We're literally the best team in baseball right now. The window's wide open for the Lions. I don't care what you say about Frank Ragnow retiring. That does not close the Super Bowl window. The window is open for the Pistons. The Pistons are real exciting to watch right now. I know we're getting into the NBA Finals. Oklahoma versus Indiana, which the NBA has to absolutely hate because it's 2 small market teams, but I love it. And then there's the Red Wings. I'm not really sure what to say or what to do about the Red Wings. I wish Hitch was on right now. He could elaborate a little bit more. I'd also like to get Tom Herman on here. Tom, I don't know if you're watching live right now, but I've said this before, and it's up to me to send you the link, but I got to get you on here, buddy, and talk about some Red Wings because I'm about ready to throw the towel in on hockey in general. And to be fair, someone should probably be on here to defend this, but I'm really not too impressed at the product that's been put out by the NHL in the last 10 years. And with a guy like Steve Yzerman coming back to Detroit, shit, if it's not scripted in the NHL, you better start scripting it because this has got gold written all over it for Netflix documentaries and ticket prices to go up at LCA and jerseys to get sold and octopuses to get thrown on the ice again. I mean, this town is just oozing right now with all three other sports teams. And Stevie Y, dude, you're holding it right now in your hand. And I don't understand what you're doing. I don't understand why you're not making big moves. Again, not a huge hockey guy, so I sound like an idiot, but I'm telling you, you're missing out on a big opportunity, dude. You're missing out. I mean, look what the Lions did. Look at my frickin' background right now. I mean, they took that logo, which stood for SOL, same old Lions, and turned it into a logo that's on everything. It's on cars. It's on kids. It's on backpacks. It's more popular than the Jumpman right now in this area. I've been at work meetings, and guys have Lions polos on. I mean, it is replaced the little Ralph Lauren polo there with just that symbol. They've done a phenomenal job at rebranding that entire team. The Tigers, I don't think you need any help. You've got a classic Detroit D. But, dude, the Red Wings, you guys are just missing out. I mean, can you not do a collaboration with like a hologram of Tupac at the game wearing your jersey on the ice? Something to get these fans excited because it's not good hockey. It's not. So that's my challenge to Steve Yzerman. Okay, so to follow back up on my wrestling, Ryan, okay, you did watch it. You were a little younger. '05. See, I was out of it by '05. I was actually out of wrestling probably by 2000, 99, 2000. Once the collapse of WCW, I was out of it. Yeah. I don't know if it was an age thing too. I was hitting high school, but it was just losing its allure. So, Ryan, I'm sorry, buddy. You missed out on probably the greatest era of wrestling. Jerry, you know what I'm talking about because you got to watch the even better territory days and still be young enough to old enough-ish, relevant, I should say, to watch WCW. Well, you said it, Doc. Honestly, the Wings, they went from the Dead Wings, then we went to Hockey Town to nothing. They've literally been nothing. I mean, it's kind of shameful to think about how strong that logo was in this city. I mean, I should be doing a Red Wings podcast if this was 1997. Even if this was 2008. Matter of fact, I was just watching something while we were eating dinner, and ESPN was doing a throwback to the 2008 Stanley Cup championship with the Red Wings and the Penguins. And I was talking to Jason, and I said, dude, that was such a good series. I remember I was working at a tanning salon, Metropolitan, in St. Clair Shores, and we were closing the store up, and he had like these big wide open windows, like, you know, tall glass windows, floor to ceiling, and two flat screens on the wall. And we had the game on, and we shut all the lights off so that, you know, we could watch the game. And two cops pull up in the parking lot. We've got the leather couches pushed up, and I'm thinking, oh, great, what are they going to do? And I walk outside and introduce myself and like, hey, do you mind if we just sit here and watch the end of the game? And it was cool. I'll never forget that. So we watched the end of the Red Wings game, and they won the Stanley Cup, and it was fun. Went to the bar and celebrated. But, dude, how do the Illiches just destroy what they built? I mean, they put their heart and soul into the Red Wings, and now it is a franchise built off of Stephen Barry leather jackets from the 90s. I mean, no, I'm sorry if you got the fucking jacket at home, but you know what I'm talking about, the Red Wings leather jacket. Doc, you know what I'm talking about for sure. That's it. That's all they have is the nice. It's kind of shameful too, because if you go downtown, it used to be a Red Wings driven downtown. You had Chelly's Chili, Hockey Town. The Red Wings wheel was everywhere. Even as funky and old school as Joe Louis was, it was iconic. A great place to accidentally hurt somebody if you wanted them to accidentally trip down those stairs. I know Hitch talked about doing that a few times. I won't say about who, but he thought about it. But, how can you do that? It'd be like if the New York Yankees started excessively losing. I mean, seriously. They've had their down years, but as much as of an annoying club they are, they're still a really good baseball team, and they've been a really good baseball team since the 50s. So I think back to my buddy Bob would always say, we're the Yankees of hockey, right? We're the New York Yankees of hockey. Everybody hates us. It's like, yeah, but if we're going to be the New York Yankees of hockey, we have to constantly be good. We have to constantly be a thorn in somebody's side, and we're not. We're just living in the 90s. See, Ryan's got the leather jacket. Jerry's taking lunch. Switching over at Mac Assembly. That's a good spot to be at. I guess I can't complain too much, because if I think about where the Red Wings were at compared to where the other three teams were at, they were the only thing we had. So what's the trade-off, Mark? You're going to have the Red Wings suck, but the Lions, the Pistons, and the Tigers be good? I can't complain too much. Plus, blue is my favorite color, so at least the Lions are winning. But back to the Tigers before I got all taken away off of I'm on one of my tangents. Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, Kerry Carpenter, Javi Baez. Let's see. Who else am I missing? Trey Sweeney. Dylan Dingler. I mean, these are names that weren't on anyone's radar. I mean, obviously, Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson were for, are you actually going to play baseball? But it was Ohtani. It was the whole Dodgers freaking lineup. Sorry. Ohtani, Mookie Betts, et cetera, et cetera. It was Alec Bergman going over to Boston, and how, the Tigers are a team that nobody wants to play for because they're washed up and they're a terrible organization and this, that, and the other. Well, look what happened, man. We are the number one team in baseball right now, and we're doing it in such a complete fashion that I couldn't be more proud of A.J. Hinch, because it all comes down to ownership and Scott Harris allowing A.J. Hinch to be A.J. Hinch. And that's really what it comes down to. I mean, should we be surprised what Scott Harris is doing right now with these Tigers? I mean, you saw what he did with the San Francisco Giants, right? I mean, and this is just a smaller Scott Harris sample size. But this is what happens when you get away from the Illich Slackies, right? That's all Dombrowski. Not I'll say Dombrowski. That's all Avila was. Avila was an Illich Slacky. Dombrowski was an absolute ace when it came to making trades, but the game of baseball has completely changed, just like football's completely changed. And we're seeing that with how the Lions adapted and changed their culture and have kind of taken things like the fourth down or the trades in the draft and made that a relevant thing, right? Like everybody's going for it on fourth down now. Well, that's a Dan Campbell thing. So now that you look at Scott Harris and he's saying, okay, guys, beginning of the season, they had players all over, still technically out of position. We're seeing Javi Baez in center field, second base, first base, and it just got me thinking, these guys are baseball players, right? You're asking them to just go out and play baseball, and that's what they're trying to do, and they're getting the best out of these guys, and I love it, because growing up playing baseball, you don't start out and say, okay, you're going to be a first baseman or you're going to be a third baseman and then work on that position all the way up. I mean, you go out there and you play them all. And as you get older, you start playing a few less and you kind of hone in on certain positions. Like the game of baseball, you have to have that whole perspective. And that's what I think I really like about this team, is they're taking a bunch of different guys that we've seen a little bit last year, and they're giving them the whole perspective. And that's the way AJ Hinch manages. And he's allowing these guys to see how they can fit in with the team and contribute week in over week out versus our traditional Tigers where everybody had their designated spots, right? Polanco at second, Cabrera at first, Guillen in the outfield, like whatever era you want to say, right? You had guys that were coming in to play a certain position. And if you asked them to play out of position, it was like, I don't know about that. This is a young, fun team of baseball players, okay? You've got strong arms in the bullpen, something we never had with the Dombrowski-era Tigers, right? So this is why I'm saying this looks like an 84 bless you boys team. They have pitching. They have hitting. They've got a high baseball IQ, and they've got a coach that everybody loves. All right, let's go to the chat and see what's going on. Jerry, I thought you were back at work. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the Wings go back to the West. I actually forget sometimes that they used to be in the West. Get rid of the salary cap in the NHL, and the Wings could be great again. Yeah, I agree with that too. Get rid of the salary cap. Now, that's a good conversation if Hitch was here. I feel like he would have the opposite opinion of my take on that one, just to be Hitch. So I want to save that one for Hitch because I think we could really get into the NHL and how to save it, because that's part of it right there, right? Just like the NBA and their stupid draft lottery, it lets them rig it so they can see which players they want to go to premier towns or marquee towns. That's one thing I'd say, okay, NBA, you get rid of the draft lottery, and I don't care, let the teams fucking tank. The NFL lets teams tank, and we see how this works. And the NHL, let's get rid of the salary cap. Let's let these owners spend some money and build some big market teams. The Wings lost the grit of the old teams. Yeah, and I don't think you're stealing that, Doc, from the Lions. I think grit represents the city of Detroit, right? So the Lions ran with it because, again, freaking marketing, they're smart. Like, they did a really good job with this. What once was a Kmart shirt for $9.99 that you wouldn't be caught dead in is now a $46 T-shirt at Dick's. And the concept of grit has been absorbed by Detroit, but it's just a widely used term to describe blue-collar, hard-working, rough people. And the Red Wings used to represent that, honestly, in Detroit. When you look at the grind line and the Russian Five, and you looked at a lot of guys that people looked down on, and Detroit only gave them a spot, and they got to build something special here. Like, we're still talking about running into Kurt Maltby at frickin' Kroger's a couple weeks ago. That's how impactful those guys were to the city of Detroit. Who else we got here in the chat? Amon Ross St. Brown, are you in this chat somewhere? Shit, I can't even get Hitch to join me on our own show on the chat at least. Oh, yeah, let's talk about that. So Hitch got a new dog. So just so everybody's aware, Hitch doesn't like taking care of things other than Maggie. He's a fantastic father. But when it comes to animals and himself, why not, right? So he has told me over and over again that they're never getting another dog. And I kept telling him, you've got an adorable daughter, and she's going to want another dog. And you've got a very patient, loving wife who you owe probably lots of yes, whatever you say, honey, to. And she's going to want another dog. So you're getting another dog. So all kidding aside, he got another dog, and I think it looks adorable. Let's see, what's the name of this dog? I guess I could pull it up on here while I'm looking. Now, the real question is, who is going to be picking up after the dog in the yard? That's my question. Is it going to be Hitch? Is it going to be Maggie? What is this? Charlotte Ruby Scarcella, 3-year-old rescue from Arkansas. I also love that they got a rescue dog. That is really cool. Great Pyrenees Lab Mix. 80 pounds. Perfect. Well, I'll tell you what. If Hitch, you want to hire somebody and you want to outsource your dog scooping of your poop, I think we can organize something with Jason. He is looking to make extra money this year. He wants a electric e-bike that he has earmarked. It's $5,000. I'm not kidding you. It's $5,000. It's not street legal, and he can never ride it around here, but he's dead set on getting it. So, irregardless, this will be a great way to test the opportunity for money. So I'll give you this call out, Uncle Hitch. If you don't want to pick up the dog poop and you're going to pay somebody, which I bet you will, let me know, and I'll ask the weasel and see if he's interested in making some money. But, all right, back to sports. All right, so we talked about Frank Ragnow. I rambled on about the Lions and why I don't think that we need to be worried. We don't need to beat it up like a dead horse. The local radio will do that for us. I think we're in a good position. Frank gave us the heads up. This was the inevitable. His body was falling apart. He was falling apart. It's unfortunate, but this was the best way to go about it, in my opinion. Looking forward to any potential roster moves that they are going to make to replace him. I know that there was an Alex Anzalone contract holdout. We made a signing of a linebacker. Who did we sign? Why can't I find out who we signed? This is silly. No, who gives a shit? Not going to make the roster anyways. So I feel like we're in a good situation, right? Excited about Tate, Ratledge. I'm excited about Tesla. I'm excited about really just how this new offensive coordinator maybe put a little bit more of a polished look on the offense, less trick plays, more X's and O's and execution. Really excited to see J-Mo coming out for a breakout year as more of a new age look, an outlaw attitude, him and St. Brown taking over that field. The Lions really coming in everyone's town with a little bit more gravitas, a little bit more respect. Definitely not going to be a 15-2 season. I don't really think we're ever going to see that again. And you don't win an award for 15-2. You win an award for winning the Super Bowl. So Hitch and I will get into this, but I'm going to tell you right now, guys, the one lesson I learned from last season is that all I care about is getting into the playoffs healthy. Now, we're not going to get hung up on the 10 win, the 11 win. What did I say? Getting into the playoffs healthy. That just right there tells me you have a winning record. I anticipate us always having a winning record with this staff. Okay, so let's move on. Getting into the playoffs healthy is the only thing moving forward I care about. That's it. Because if we're not healthy in those playoffs, I don't care if we have home field advantage. I don't care if we won the North. I don't care if we won every game. We saw what happens when you get into the playoffs and you're not healthy. You lose. And that's what Kansas City taught me. That's all 2 seasons ago when they won the Super Bowl. Everyone was shit bagging them and shit talking them. And Patrick Mahomes says, we just need to get into the playoffs healthy. Just get me into the playoffs with my guys healthy. Because they figured that out. They figured out that that's what you do, right? So, Wayne, if you were here right now, you'd be agreeing with me. You'd cut me off and say, listen, I already told you this. Told you this like 2 years ago when you guys were getting all excited. But you're right. That's all I care about. So every time we watch these episodes, every time we talk, let's think about that. That's the goal. Get into the playoffs healthy. And are we set to do that? Yes, we are set to do that right now. All right. So that's all I have to say about the Lions. Actually, no. No, I don't. Let's do a little review real quick. They just made a big signing. Lions waive rookie, signed former Giants cornerback. All right, so we picked up Devod Wilson. So we waived the rookie cornerback Gavin Holmes. So Hitch, that was the corner that Tesla beat in that one-on-one drill that you had me watch. He's gone. And we have Devod Wilson, a free agent quarterback, last signed with New York. Let's see. So it looks like we're going to be doing kind of what Hitch alluded to last 2-3 episodes ago with playing that roster game. Bring one in, bring one out, bring one in, bring one out. You know, that's something I really haven't heard a ton over. The 49ers and Eagles are working on a deal to finalize a trade that would send edge rusher Bryce Huff to San Francisco for a mid-round pick. I gotcha. Getting a little leverage. I really don't feel like they need leverage. I just feel like that's going to be more of a timing issue. Maybe I'm a little too overconfident in the Zadarius Smith reunion, like I was with the Darius Slay reunion that never happened, but could be wrong. I don't really see another team that he's going to be eager to go to, and I don't really see a reason why Brad Holmes isn't already 2 thumbs up on Zadarius Smith coming back. So the inevitable reunion, I think. The only other thing I want to bring up is that I appreciate everybody's patience over off season. This is a Lions podcast and they're not playing and you guys are still listening. I really appreciate that. I need everybody, though, to subscribe to this page and go to our Spotify, subscribe, and give us a 5-star review. So if you're a Spotify listener, there's a lot of you that I found out listen on Spotify. Please just give us a 5-star review. Please also make sure you're subscribed and get people subscribed. We're at like 118 right now, and whoever can get me to 200 subscribers, I'll buy him a Lions jersey. So if you're the person that got me that number, that 200 subscriber, I will buy you a real Lions jersey. I promise you. So not some, liberal Chinese NAFTA Hitch jersey. I'm talking about a real authentic American Lions jersey. This jersey will be hand stitched by Ted Nugent. Okay, maybe not that, but seriously, get us some subscribers. Get us up to at least like 200 subscribers, and I will compensate you. This is me bribing you live on YouTube. Also, Hitch made a comment that he could run a 4.640. I believe it was a 4.640. I'm calling him out on that, and I want to see him run a 40. So if you listen to this, please text message Hitch Garcella and say, bullshit, you can't run that. I want to see your real 40 time. Who out there would like us to film Hitch running the 40? Please drop it in the comments. Don't text it to me. Drop it in the comments. Let me know. But please, seriously, I want a reason to do this. I think this would be absolutely hilarious. Yeah, maybe this one will actually get to the winner. Let me preface that. Tim Grushak, if you win this contest, I will give you this jersey. Matter of fact, let's discuss that. Thanks, Doc, for bringing that up. Hitch, you owe Tim Grushak a jersey. It's a Brian Branch jersey. You keep saying you have it in the backseat of your car. I will break into your car and steal it. Tim, I will get it to you. I need you to send me your address, whether you text me, messaged me, somehow get me your address, and I will drop it off on your porch. The jersey will be yours. You won that fair and square. Hitch keeps telling me he has it, and I will record me picking it up and delivering it to you. And if I can get Hitch in a suit, maybe we can do like a Ed McMahon show up at your house. What is that? What's that sweepstakes? We'll show up at your house with a big, I don't know if we could do a big check, if that would make sense. Maybe just like a big cardboard jersey, a really obnoxiously large cardboard jersey, and then give you the real one. But do something cool like that. Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes. That just came in my head. All right, I'm going to check the chat one more time because I've been on here for 51 minutes. Wow, Jesus Christ. I can't believe I'm talking that long. All right, looks like you guys have cooled down. You know what we should do? We should play like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, but we'll do it with Hitch. Where's he at right now? Does anybody want to take a guess where Hitch is at? See if I can call him and get him on the phone. What if he sends me to voicemail? Thanks, Doc. Appreciate that. Yeah, if he's in the garage, I wonder what he's doing. I wonder if there was like a gas leak and he's passed out. Just checking on you, making sure you're alive. All right, so he didn't answer. So, yeah. Doc thinks he's in the garage. I say he's at Mass right now. He's at church. That's just my guess. All right, well, it's 53 minutes and 24, 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds left. I think I'm going to end up signing off and saying goodbye for real this time. So thanks to the Doc, Jer Bear, McSkeeter, Mike Harthen, Hitch for not being here, my wife for not making fun of me for doing this once a week, and that's about it. All right, guys, well, I'll be back next week, hopefully with Hitch, maybe with Wayne, maybe with somebody else. Hey, guys, if you want to pop on here, please let me know. The off season is the best time to get weird. So with all that said, hope you guys have a lovely evening and one pride.